I've got something really cool to show to you today. It's called a traveller guitar. Now this is a full scale length guitar, but it's actually very small. I think it's the smallest full scale length guitar that you can get in the world. Look at this. How cool is that? So 25 inches, so it's a full scale length, but it's super thin. And essentially what they've done is, you know, take the guitar neck, keep the guitar neck, but then build everything else around it. So from like here to here. It's really weird to play with no head, with no headstock up at this end. Also having the tuning, the machine heads here and here. Again, it's like, it's so weird when you first get this thing. It's just like, wow, what is this? How do I relate to this instrument? You know, really cool. There's some stuff I like about it. There's some stuff I don't like about it. I'll explain that to you in this video. But just to back up a little bit, the reason why I got this thing was over the years when I've travelled internationally, 3 guitars of mine have been damaged on three different guitars on 3 different trips. One got smashed up by the baggage handlers in New York City. Another one was damaged by the baggage handlers in Hamburg in Germany, and another one was damaged going into Sydney in Australia. So 3 different guitars. And actually, one of those 3 was my fault. It was an acoustic guitar, and it wasn't in a good enough case. But 2 out of those 3 were absolutely not my fault. The guitars were in really chunky, expensive hard cases, and they still got damaged. So there's no way that I'm going to travel internationally and take any, you know, guitars that I really care about, you know, like any of these guys back here. But of course, whenever I do go abroad, went on holiday recently with my wife and kids, I miss my guitar. So when I went to Malta last year, what that ended up happening was I had to buy a guitar while I was there because I was missing my guitar so much. That was actually pretty cool because I ended up going to night music in Malta, which is, they're really good people there. And I bought a Fender, a Starcaster, which is a guitar that I would never buy in the UK because I was abroad. I was like, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to get this guitar that I've always wanted. So I bought the Starcaster while I was there, but then I had to ship it home. And that ended up costing more than, almost as much as the guitar cost itself. Didn't tell my wife that. What I was trying to find was, what's the solution? You know, like when you go abroad and you're traveling internationally, like what's the solution? You know, because you still want to play a guitar or a stringed instrument while you're away. I've tried guitar ukuleles, but I wanted an actual guitar. So I researched it, and then that's when this bad boy popped up, the traveller guitar. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. So I bought it, I took it away to Spain recently with my wife and kids, and I kind of road tested this thing. So in this video, I thought I'll share with you the things I liked about this, the things I didn't. You can decide whether the traveller guitar is right for you when you go travelling. Okay, so what's good and bad about this thing, right? A couple of things. First of all, it comes in this case here, which is pretty cool. Nice compact case. It comes with this sort of aluminium foil type stuff, which I assume is some type of, you know, it gives it some type of extra thermal insulation or protection while it's in the plane, which I think is a good idea because the temperatures can fluctuate, and of course that's not good for guitars. Comes with this little case. I've got some extra strings in there, clip-on tuner and string winder. The guitar itself packs in there pretty good. So you've got the machine heads here at the top end, full 25-inch scale length. It's finished at the top in this metallic finish. It feels pretty good, I've got to say. It's well made. It's quite a chunky, you know, solid object in your hand, although it's quite light. It's made out of one piece of wood, which I like. For resonance, a couple of things I don't like on the back. This is nasty. Like, I don't know whose idea it was to put that on there. It's a really bad idea that you have this weird piece of Velcro here, which, okay, it's there to protect the wood, but it just looks kind of half finished. This is obviously here for the input jack. This is a semi-acoustic version. Overall, yeah, I don't like that stuff there on the back, but apart from that, it's really well made. Unfortunately, these screws here, they tend to dig into you when you play. I wish that those screws had been countersunk. That would have been super easy to do and would have made the guitar much more comfortable to play. But yeah, overall, the overall impression is like, this is a cool guitar. You know, it's well made, it's well put together, it's got quite thick strings on it. I think they're medium gauge strings, which I actually don't like. I would have preferred to have had light gauge or even extra light gauge strings on there. But I think the purpose of having the medium gauge strings is that there's a piezo pickup underneath there, and I think the more resonant the guitar is, I think that makes it easier for the pickup to detect the tone. Your overall impression when you use the guitar is that it's well made. You know, it's a well put together, ingenious guitar the way it's been made. There's a couple of things on there that I don't like, but overall it makes a good impression and it feels good in the hands. Obviously there's no pickup selectors or, you know, tone or volume pots or anything like that. It's just, you know, what you see is what you get to kind of strip back a fair. But as you're about to hear, the guitar sounds pretty good. Let's plug it in and see what it's like. Okay, let's see how this thing sounds. So one other cool addition is you get this, I think it's called a lap rest or something like that. But what happens is it plugs into these two slots here. Can you see that? Here and here. And it just works on tension. So you just squeeze it a little and put it in carefully. If you're not too careful, you will scratch the wood, which I've done here. I was just a bit too hasty when I was putting it in. I think it would be good to have maybe a little bit of protection there on future versions because, of course, you know, that's going to happen again and again. So what that does is it just raises the guitar up. It makes it much more comfortable to play. That thigh rest that you can add in there, because essentially when you're playing it then, it's the same height as a normal guitar. Again, cool idea, you know, just a thoughtful touch to raise it up. If you don't use the thigh rest, it's much harder to play. And this thigh rest here, it's very easy to put in and out, and that just fits into the zip pocket on the case. Okay, remember this is a semi-acoustic version I'm playing here. There is an electric version, and I actually intended to order the electric version, but because I'm an idiot, I accidentally ordered the semi-acoustic version. I considered putting electric guitar strings on it, because I prefer something a bit more slinky, you know, for just, you know, playing and noodling away. But that can cause problems with, you know, the strings. Obviously, if it's made as an acoustic guitar, everything is set up here for thicker, heavier strings. If you put, you know, thinner electric guitar strings on, then it might not sit right here on the bridge or up here on the nut, and you can get buzzing. The action can go a bit weird. I was thinking about trying it anyway, just because I prefer to have lighter gauge strings underneath my fingers. I guess there's no harm in trying it, you know, £5 for a packet of strings and 10 minutes of your time changing them over. But in the end, I just left these acoustic strings on. As I mentioned before, they're medium gauge strings, so they're quite chunky, and that makes the instrument a little bit unyielding, which I don't really like. But it does make it very resonant, which I guess is a good idea, and is kind of the point of a semi-acoustic guitar. All right, let's play some stuff. So it does those sort of big tones, you know, those big acoustic tones really well, I think. It was about £300 this, you know, and I didn't really buy it for it to create a great acoustic tone through an amp. I just bought it for the convenience and small form factor of being able to put a guitar in my suitcase, surround it with clothes, and know that it was going to be okay and that I could play it when I got there. So the fact that it actually sounds good played through an amp, kind of a bonus, you know. That's not really why I got it. But I think it does sound pretty good. You know, it's got some, obviously you can't change the tone. There's no pickup selectors or different pickups to choose from or tone controls or anything like that. But I think the tone is pretty good. Let me dial that reverb down a little bit. Because it's got the piezo pickup in, I think that's a pressure-based pickup, so it's not a magnet essentially, and I think that's good because it pulls out the acoustic nature of the instrument. But the bad thing is that you get quite a lot of string buzz and string squeak, and also you really hear every little detail, which is good in some ways, but it also means your playing's got to be super clean, and that's not that easy with this instrument because, like I said, it's got quite a chunky neck on it, you know. It's like, it feels quite unyielding. Okay, so I've thrown a lot at you in this video, you know. I've just kind of given you a download, you know, like a stream of consciousness of what I think about this guitar, and as you can tell, I've got mixed feelings about it. There's some parts of it that I really like, some parts of it that I don't like. I don't think it's the most playable guitar, but it is a playable guitar, you know, so like it's not lots of fun to play. Of course, it's nowhere near as fluid or fluent as, you know, a full-size, you know, electric guitar. It's not even as fluid and as fluent as, you know, just a normal, you know, decent quality mid-range acoustic guitar. But I do think that it is a good option if you're traveling abroad, just because it's so small. It means that you can play a guitar while you're away. You can get something under your fingers. You don't need to worry about checking in a guitar as a separate piece of luggage. This thing is compact enough that it just fits in your suitcase. So for the purposes of traveling, I think it's good. Actually, for the purpose of traveling, it's great. For the purposes of playing at home, you're probably not going to use it that much when you're at home. I think you would default to playing one of your other instruments that you've got, because it's not the most playable guitar. If this was a guitar that you were just going to use at home, you'd probably give it something like a 6 out of 10. It's not that great, but it's okay, you know, but it's not great. Bearing in mind it is a guitar for traveling, yeah? It's called the Traveller guitar. It's super small, packs into your suitcase. I think you've got to cut to some slack for that. And I think to be able to take this away with you, you know, and just practice, jam, you know, it's relatively loud. You know, it's a semi-acoustic guitar. There's no sound hole, but you can hear it, you know. If you're looking for a guitar that you can take with you on trips, I think this is a good option. You know, if size is the most important factor, this is the best option. As far as I know, this is like, you know, it's the only guitar of its type that's got the full scale length and is so small. I think it is the world's smallest full-size guitar. So if size and form factor is the most important thing, I think this is the one to go for. I think if I could choose again, I think I would choose the electric version, because I would never be playing this amplified anyway, and I think electric guitars are actually more fun to play if you just take out the sound. If you were going to play an acoustic guitar and it was going to be silent, you know, or near silent like this, or an electric guitar, I think most people would rather play an electric guitar because it's got thinner strings on and you can move around the neck a bit more easily, form chord shapes more easily, the neck's generally a little bit thinner. So I think if I was having my time over again, I think I would buy the electric version of the Traveller guitar, and in fact I might even see if I can send this one back and get an electric version. I hope this helps. Hope you now got a good idea of what the Traveller guitar is like. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.